So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the latest technology and why everybody's excited about it. It's called gene editing. Who's heard of gene editing? Okay. It's all over the news right now, mainly talking about how it's going to fix you, right? Or how it's going to make designer babies, how it's going to allow us to fix our children. And it does have some potential for that. I think there's so much hype, it's hard to separate the hype from the reality. But what gene editing does is, whereas in GMO technology, it's really crude. You're just shooting DNA into the cell. It can go anywhere. Okay? So it's kind of like using using a sledgehammer when what you really want is like a little, needle. Gene editing, we actually know the sequence of the genes, so we design things that will act as, I guess, for lack of a better word, molecular scissors. So it pinpoints a specific position on the genome, and we can use that either to delete a gene, or insert a gene, or modify a gene in some way. Okay, so instead of just blowing it into the cell, we actually target specific regions, and we scientifically know what we want to do to that region. Okay, so it's a lot less of a guessing game. So it allows precision, it allows targeting specific locations, it allows a single base change. A lot of the differences that we see in, between all of us, between one person and another, hair color, for instance, it may be a single gene, but that gene may have a couple different variants. And those variants may only be a single base pair, a single DNA base pair out of millions or billions of base pairs. It's undetectable, so a lot of the problem with GM technology is it has to use various promoters and markers that people can detect. With gene editing, once these events are done, there's really not any way to detect it. Okay? So it can look natural. And then it allows gene drives. Now the gene drive thing is really interesting. So I'm just going to, it's not a plant thing, but I'm going to show this to you because they're talking about using this to really get rid of mosquitoes, or at least to get rid of malaria through mosquitoes. So the idea of a gene drive is we can edit the DNA so that instead of when you have a mom and a dad mate, they have the child has a 50-50 shot of inheriting copies of the DNA from either the mom or the father. Well, we can make it so it has a 100% shot of inheriting the DNA from the parent we want. And so this little diagram here shows, these two cross, this one gets the blue, this one gets the blue, that one gets the blue. So every progeny gets that blue gene. And so eventually you have a whole population that has the blue gene. So if it's a malarial resistant gene, all of a sudden your mosquito population can't carry malaria. Okay? So that's the advantage. Now we can think of lots of reasons why this is a very bad idea. Okay? So the science is cool. I think the jury's still out on whether or not people are going to let it go forward. But there is a real chance of eliminating some of our worst diseases through this technology.